Is Genshin Impact power creep getting too bad? The answer is no. It's always been like this since 3.0. A lot of people want to sit there and say 4.0 massive power creep, oh my god, but they don't realize why that was. You guys have to understand, when Hoyo made Hyperbloom, they were expecting people to use it as the Ginger reaction for 3.0, but the thing is, it was way too strong. They overtuned Hyperbloom to the point where it really did make it to where a lot of characters just became very, not to say useless, but they became on the level of a reaction. Literally, the reaction was doing as much damage as Hu Tao, basically. You know, like, depending on the way that you see it, it does that much damage, right? Hu Tao was considered to be, you know, equal to or worse than Hyperbloom in a lot of cases, right? There were people who were obviously going to say that Hu Tao's better or something, but overall, if you were, you know, doing more than one rotation with Hu Tao, which wasn't uncommon at the time from what I remember, you know, it's been 2 years, 3 years, I don't know, but it's been a while. So forgive me if I misremember a couple things, but I do know that Hu Tao and Hyperbloom were very close in power, and Hu Tao before that had been one of the strongest DPSs in the game. Now, this is a Hyperbloom team that I used for a long time, minus the Fiorina. I would use Cho instead, but I used double Hydro, you know, Hyperbloom basically, and that was a very strong team that I used to use very often. No regards or whatever. I just was like, yeah, this is the team that I like using. So we're here. I have Iron Sting on my Kuki. We should be good. We have Paradise and stuff. We're looking great. Yep. So we're just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get the energy that I need, and we're gonna test. Actually, I don't need my energy. We're gonna actually take this into Abyss, right? A lot of people misguide their blame of power creep to Nevi, Arlecchino, main DPSs that were really strong when 4.0 dropped. However, they're only that strong because Hyperbloom. Hyperbloom was the power shift. You guys have to realize they're of course going to make DPS characters better and better, but when you have to make them better than Hyperbloom, then it's gonna result in, oh, Hu Tao versus Arlecchino. Arlecchino is wiping the floor with this character. You guys have to understand that. So I'm gonna, you know, do this Abyss here real quick, and I guess max, oh no, we'll pick attack percent. We just want to see us clear within a minute 30. That is our main goal here. Fiorina should have been before Yelan there, but it's fine. So here, our main goal here is just purely this. We're just here to do enough damage and have this guy take all the damage. He's taking a little bit resistant damage because his other guy is over there, but you know, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I have to care about that because Hyperbloom is that strong. I don't see that I would have to care about that. Again, it's just, yeah, this team is very strong. There's no yeah, we're just gonna cook them up, right? So yeah, they're taking 30,000 damage, 32,000 damage. Yeah, it's very strong, very strong. We're gonna pop a Q skill there. All right, sweet. So let's go ahead. Yelan, Fiorina again. Okay. Ow. Maybe Yelan should be on Favonius too. All right, let's make sure to get this stuff though. Okay, let's you know, heal Kuki up a bit here. All right, little bit of you know, a little bit of awfulness. I don't even know what weapon. Do I have Yelan's just on like a nothing weapon? Might have her on a nothing weapon. That could be bad. That could be indeed bad. Arenos. Yeah, let's go ahead, do this. Yeah, let's just get rid of her. Oh, okay, so after how many years, chat? How many years? What, 2 years? 3 years? I don't know. Yep. Okay, come on, please. All right, don't make me a liar. Okay, we did good. All right, I gotta check Yelan's weapon. I think she's on like a 1-star bow. But yeah, you guys saw that was a minute 30 clear. After 2 years, that team is still good. Listen, that team's super easy to do. I was actively not giving a single crap about what I was doing half the time. I was commentating and doing whatever I wanted. That is why the newer DPS characters are so strong, because that is the baseline. They had to improve beyond Hyperbloom, and it's just such an easy team to do because realistically, I mean, while yes, I'm using 3 5-stars on this team, you don't have to. You really don't. And again, I wasn't really paying attention nor caring about what I was doing in that entire run. I'll give you guys a run where I really go in for it. So let's go ahead. I want to just see, because this is a multi-wave, you know, do your damage, and it really won't change beyond that. We really are in a single target meta, which is favorable comparable to Hyper Bloom, let's be real. But like, yeah, you guys gotta understand, this is where the power creep came from, guys. This isn't, we don't blame Nevi or Arlecchino, we blame Hyper Bloom. It wasn't a problem at the time because no one was thinking ahead of time. Nobody was thinking, oh wow, you know, they're gonna increase the DPS characters by a load, right? Nobody was thinking that. So let's go ahead. I once again put Furina and Yelan in the wrong spots for the rotation. Great, I love it. Realistically, I think I should be using Cookie's E-skill at the start of the rotation, whatever. We're fine. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do this. Yeah, I would like to be hurting the crocodile. Yeah, let me do that. Yeah, okay, boom. And yeah, you see how easy this guy goes down now? Now we have a whole, what, a whole minute before we do anything. Let me pop that just so we can actually get the stuff going. Yeah, we can get extra damage. All right, sweet. All right, Q skill there. And yeah, we have a whole minute to defeat this. All right, this is really annoying. Can you stop? Like, actually, you're so annoying. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Yes, sir. And let's go ahead and pop a Q. Okay, let's go ahead. Yes, and we'll have this. Okay. So you guys see that we are now above 30 seconds here. Like, you guys see this, right? Oh, Cookie. And we're good. Oh, no, we're good. So, like, if I didn't, you know, stop at the end there and, you know, was like, oh, wow, look how good we did. Still, we saved 20 seconds beyond a passable clear time. For just, literally, most of the damage was coming from a reaction. It wasn't like, oh, you know, Yelan and Furina's off-field damage is super insane, right? Like, it's good. It is good. I'm not going to deny that. But let's be real. Most of the damage is coming from a outright reaction. So, you guys gotta understand, they're going to do that. And let's not even talk about, we could have Alhaitham here. Alhaitham is still a character who keeps up with the meta because his main team is a Hyper Bloom team. It's called Quick Bloom, but you use the Hyper Bloom reaction to do extra damage. It's very strong. That's why, chat. You guys gotta understand, that's why we have this whole thing. All right, again, let's just go healing effectiveness. It won't really, well, it will actually affect our damage. So let's go HP less than 50% defense. All right, here we go. Yep, okay. I keep forgetting that Furina is supposed to be in that slot. All right, sweet. Let's go ahead, E skill, and yep, and short, Q, and E, and let's go ahead again. We just got a little bit of, you know, things here. Let's go ahead, heal Cookie up a bit. Yeah, switch back to Nahida, heal Cookie up a bit. Yeah. All right. Okay, guys, we're doing pretty good. We still have a whole minute to defeat the boss before literally anything happens. Honestly, like we're just, yeah. We're doing good, chat. We're doing good. Yay. Yep, certainly doing good. Okay. Time to E skill, Q skill again, and E skill, Q skill again, and Q skill here, E skill, yeah, E skill, Q skill, yep. All right, so now we're in the second stage here. Hopefully this guy goes down fast. All right, come on, get going. All right, ow, that sucks. Okay, we have, you know, what, 20 seconds to go. All right, let's get that. Okay, now we have this. Okay, okay, a little bit of time. All right, we're not. Oh, we're close. Don't run out. Chat, this team is like beyond Furina. It's just a 2-year-old team, like almost 3 years old, right? Because it was the 2nd anniversary with, you know, Sumeru, and we're, you know, approaching the, you know, 5th anniversary, right? Yeah, in 3 months, chat. 3 months is all it's gonna take, and we're at like the 5th anniversary, basically. Guys, this isn't like, you know, oh my god, super insane. Like, this is Hyper Bloom. This is Hyper Bloom, a reaction, which has a main DPS that goes with it, and he's still considered one of the better DPSs in the game. So yeah, I think we've shown off 2 cases. I don't think I need to, you know, complete the entire abyss with this, but like, guys, yeah, you understand, like the Hyper Bloom is the reason why Power Creep got as bad as it did in 4.0. A lot of people are still thinking that, oh my god, we're gonna see massive Power Creep in 6.0. You know, you either, oh yeah, we hate Natlan characters, so we can just use that as an excuse for why, you know, nobody should summon for him and try and convince him not to summon for him. And then also, we have the new difficult content that was released, or not released, announced, with the feather and the whole thing. And people are like, well, it's just going to be, more power creep, newer characters are going to be the only things useful in there. And I gotta say, I don't think that's going to happen, guys. I don't think Mavuika is going to be, trash by the end of 6.5 or something, right? It's not going to be like that. We're not going to get, unless we get more reactions based on, something, and it becomes Hyperbloom 2.0, which in that case, you have Hyperbloom 2.0 at your disposal, sure, but this is why we, now we're more experienced. We know why this has happened. Anybody who has been playing the game as long as, me, will sit here and say, like, Hyperbloom really just nullified a lot of the older DPSs, and then, of course, 4.0 is going to be like, well, now we have to make the new DPSs better, because let's be honest, look at what characters in 3.0 actually came out and dealt elemental damage as their number one source of damage. Sinnoh, okay, he was considered one of the worst characters of the game at that time. It was worse than Raiden, I believe. And I think it was either on-field Raiden or off-field Raiden on Hyperbloom. It's possible it was Hyperbloom. It's very possible because this guy, on-field, not the greatest and stuff. But Sinnoh, based on Hyperbloom, he was still okay. You can use him as your Hyperbloom thing. The only issue is that he doesn't scale too much off of EM, so you don't get as crazy Hyperblooms, which is, an issue, right? Because that's how strong Hyperbloom was. Wanderer, another mid character. So we have two characters who were on-field DPS characters that, weren't, the best, right? In terms of dealing their elemental damage and doing damage with it. So, okay, because we had Hyperbloom at that point, right? It was Hyperbloom. And then we get Alhaitham. He's the only guy who actually made it out. He made it out, and he wasn't too bad. Tignari also wasn't too bad, but he was at the beginning of 3.0. He's also standard, so you can give points for that. So you can kind of pass him on that one. But Alhaitham here, he used Hyperbloom, and he did a lot of Dendra damage, and he was a good Dendra applicator. Yeah, he kind of, it wasn't raw elemental damage is what I'm trying to say. It wasn't raw elemental damage. He used reactions and all the stuff. Gaia, raw elemental damage, the worst 5-star ever, right? We can all assume that. Now, she's had some more uses ever since she's launched, since she has interruption resistance increase, but yeah. Baiju, he's a support character. He didn't do damage. Lenny, though. Oh, 4.0. Oh, Lenny is the strongest elemental damage dealer. Okay. Oh, Nevi. Oh, he's just that guy. Okay. There's a pattern here, or not a pattern, but there's a, you can see, oh, they had to increase it up a notch. And to be fair, if we go ahead and look at Nalan, they increased it up a notch with Mulani. Didn't do that with Kanich, although Kanich is still very strong. Shilonen's a great support, but she's just Kazuha. Chask is there. Silali's a great support. Mavuika's the best DPS, right? And Varissa's also there. She's up there. She is. And then Miss Coffee, in terms of raw damage dealers, we didn't get any till 4.0. And this is what they look like because of Hyperbloom. Because of Hyperbloom. If I, okay, I'm, a person who summons for constellations and stuff, right? I get the stuff. So, if we take my Nevi and we put him at C0R0, I wonder how close he would be to Hyperbloom. I think he would obviously be better because he has AoE, right? That's one of the big things that made a lot of, the Hyperbloom a lot worse when it came out, or when 4.0 came out. It countered that pretty heavily because I think they put pretty decent AoE phases into Abyss. However, Nevi's raw damage just simply was too strong, man. It was there to keep up with Hyperbloom. So yeah, I just thought I would discuss this since I've seen a lot of people, at least a couple people, talk about it lately, how, Nevi and, Arlecchino were major power increases overall to the game. And yes, they did raise the ceiling of the game, but a lot of people are misunderstanding why that happened and what was the real culprit. And the real culprit is Hyperbloom. And that is what made the DPS and, the overall, oh, look at Hu Tao compared to Arlecchino, it's complete trash, right? So yeah, yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because I do think a lot of people just were misrepresenting or not knowing, because there are people who literally didn't start in 3.0, or they did start in 3.0 and they, were just assuming, whatever. But if you go back, a lot of these older characters who didn't get buffed, Yoimiya, Hu Tao, any of these older characters, and you can just see like they weren't good. The 3.0 characters were so much better. If we're talking like, Nilu would just outshine. I feel like Ayaka is a weird one to me because I was never really high on her, if I'm being entirely honest. Like, even after, right, it was the first time I've ever been like, oh man, Ayaka's like, the GOAT, is with Miss Coffee. I really do feel like Ayaka's team is really strong. However, I never felt like that with Ayaka previously. I didn't think she separated herself enough. I think a lot of people really just like this character and try to push her above a lot of characters. Sort of exaggerate the gap that she had on the game, right? I feel like, because I do think she is probably the best DPS in 2.0. I do think so. Using her team now, it did age better than a lot of the older ones. If you look at their pre-buff team, like Hu Tao before she got plunged, before she got double hydro and shielding, right? Before that, if you look at that, then it feels like Ayaka just is a little better, but that could just be the stamina issue that I have with Hu Tao and stuff. It's whatever. But yeah, so a lot of these older DPSs, once 3.0 launched, it was like, oh my god, they're practically useless. That's how it felt. To people who may have not been, there. Well, not useless, let's be real. But they felt like, oh, it wasn't. I'm trying to recall what it felt like. I feel like it was more of a, oh wow, Hyper Bloom is so good, and we just sort of ignored the fact that other characters were worse than it, right? Like Ito. That's all I have to really say for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.